Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back in another video. Today I want to talk about the VZR Model 2. This is honestly one of the best gaming headsets, and they made a second version where they improved the overall tuning of it. So you get a better tuned headphone. The old one was a little bit more V-shaped, which is more consumer, a little more gamer centric. So you got more bass, you got more treble. This one is a lot more balanced. It's focused more on bringing out the vocals in the mid-range. So a lot of the dialogue, you're listening to a lot of games, or a lot of the male-female vocals when you're listening to music. Those things come out a lot more on the newer one. I think it overall gives it a better balanced sound and overall improves it a lot. Now there's other changes they made to this as well, in addition to that make it a better headset overall. And honestly, I think this is going to be not only a good gaming headset, competitive gaming headset, where you need to detect your footsteps. The old one did that well. The new one also does that really, really well if you want to try to detect your enemies. But the second thing it does really well is because it has more balanced sound. If you love your story mode games where you can kind of hear a lot of the dialogue, but also the explosions, the bombs, it has really good bass and very good sub bass. So it also does that really, really well. So for your story games and for your music listening, I feel like this new Model 2 does that even better, honestly, but also retaining that nice competitive gaming advantage that people are looking for. And yeah, now if you've been seeing these headsets on the table and they look exactly the same, and you can't tell the difference between each one. Do I really have the Model 2? I actually do. If you actually look at the side, this is the Model 1, this is the Model 2. The Model 2 actually comes with different ear pads, right? So you can definitely tell the differences. This one is all leather type. This one has this hybrid design. So you kind of have this cloth over here and then the leather on the side. I think it makes it a little less, I guess, hot because it's not all leather. And I'm sure it kind of helps with their retuned type of sound that they have in this. Now, the second change that you can actually detect in this one is they actually have this new ring on the inside. So this new ring is what they call the talisman, but essentially it helps them tune their sound. And this thing is actually made of leather. They said they tried different type of materials, but having real leather seems to be the best one to achieve the results. So they're definitely not skimp on this. And actually, I think the best part about this is that you can actually take this out and try it without the talisman, and you can put it in if you want. I personally like it with the ring inside, so that's what I would recommend you guys. The difference between it is really, it makes it less V-shaped, so you get a lot more of the vocals that come out, kind of pop out a little bit more. You get a lot more of that mid-range and upper mid-range with the ring in, so I definitely recommend that for most people. But you can try both sides to see which one you like personally. Another change they have actually made on the new VZR Model 2 is they have this kind of new cables. So we have this kind of braid cable. New one is kind of sleeved. It's supposed to be better isolating, better sound, improved microphone volume, and overall it's just a better sound quality. So they definitely did some work on the cable and definitely improved that. They have the same kind of design over here. If you got kind of your mic mute and then you have your kind of mic up, so you can kind of see which one it is. It's pretty obvious. And yeah, it's a pretty nice design. And they actually have a built-in microphone in here as well. So you can actually use that if you're kind of, taking calls and everything like that. So the overall kind of build quality of this headset is honestly really, really nice. I mean, if you just look at it, it has this carbon fiber like accent right here. It makes it look really cool. Honestly, it's a very nice look to it. We have the kind of leather ear pads, but also the type of top band right here. It makes this thing just very comfortable. This thing kind of conforms to your head. And this actual area up top right here, where you see it kind of has no padding, it actually helps because it makes the top of your head actually feel very relaxed, and most of it sit on the side of your head. So that's why they kind of do this type of design. I really do like it. You get these nice metal yokes right here on the side. So it's very sturdy. If you kind of rage and throw it, you're not going to break it. I think, I'm not a rager, but I know some of you guys are. And, I feel like I made that joke last time too, to be honest. But, this is really a nicely built headphone. Now, for adjustment mechanisms, what you're always looking for is, you want your pivot and your swivels, right? So this thing can do all the adjustments required. So this is really going to be very comfortable on your head. And then, of course, the other improvements is that, well, not improvements, but it has really big ear pads as well. So this is going to fit like your big ears, small ears. It's definitely going to fit you, right? I think it's probably one of the best parts. And then, of course, we got the nice memory foam as well. If you push down that, it kind of recovers. So very, very comfortable headset. So then if I kind of dive deeper into like the technology, so obviously we have the little kind of talisman ring, but behind this, if you take it off, you see the driver. I'm always advocate of the angled drivers, right? If you have angled drivers, it helps the sound come in from, I guess, not just from the side, but kind of more directionally in the front. You know, if you listen to like speakers that are normally in front of you and you listen to it, it gives you a little bit more of that experience. And I think it helps a lot with imaging personally. As from my experience, angle drivers equals better competitive gaming, / better just being able to tell where your sounds are coming from. So I'm very huge advocate of that. And then they also have what they call the crosswave technology, but in all the fancy words, essentially it makes the sound much more immersive, more around you, more realistic sounding. That's what it's designed to do. And I find that overall, this thing doesn't really sound like it's a closed back headphone, right? Because obviously it's not an open back headphone, but it sounds really spacious for a closed back headphone. I think it has probably something to do with the crosswave and the big ear pads. I think both of those contribute to it sounding less like you're kind of in a small space and more like you're in a more open space, right? Another thing worth noting about this headset is they actually had to re-engineer the driver as well to improve the sound and give you that better kind of vocal mid-range type of sound. So the driver is actually not exactly the same as the first one. So there's definitely things that are different, but obviously if you look at it like on the table, they look very similar as before. Honestly, if you ask me about the ear pads, I'm a very like full leather guy. I do like the full leather, but this new one, I think people are gonna like it because it's gonna be a lot cooler, honestly, on your head. So let's talk about sounds. How does the Model 2 sound, right? So like I said, this is a much more balanced sound. The thing that I noticed about the new one a lot is the fact that because the bass is more even now, you don't actually have as much of this mid bass type of sound that the old one has. You can actually like hear a lot more of the sub bass and the mid bass, and overall it actually sounds almost more bassy in a way because you can hear all of the bass all at the same kind of level, if that makes any sense at all. So I feel like overall the bass sounds cleaner and clearer without sounding as, I guess, mid-bass focused, which I think is very good and very nice. And the bass also still hits really hard. And I feel like like I said, it sounds cleaner too. So I think those are definitely the things I like about the new tuning. Now, like I said, for a lot of the dialogue, the vocals, when you actually go side by side, they sound clearer and cleaner on this one. I think it helps a lot too with your music and your sounds just sound a lot more full sounding, right? It's less V-shape. And so I feel like that nice full sound makes it very good for even like, you know, editing this video as well. Honestly, it does a better job at all of that being more like a studio-like type of tuning rather than, you know, the more fun V-shape type of sound, right? And then when we move on to the treble, I feel like up there up top, it sounds a little cleaner as well. So I think the old one did sometimes get slightly bright in some areas depending, versus this one never really comes across as overly bright or anything. So for the treble and the control and how good it sounds, I think it is definitely improved. They kind of pushed it down a little bit and made it less, I guess, forward sounding in the treble. And overall, it gives it a much more, I guess, nicer sound overall. So I think all these things contribute to the Model 2 sounding just more balanced, right? So then talk about soundstage and imaging. Like, you know, for this, it matters if you want to hear like exactly where everything is, above you, below you, behind a wall, behind a smoke, whatever, when you're playing your competitive games. I like to test with my favorite games, Valorant. Definitely for this one, I had no issues at all. It was just as good as the first one. But I feel like the difference in this one is because I feel like everything's more balanced. I feel like I hear the footsteps just a little easier, and you know, my gunshots just sound a little bit more filled in as well. I mean, I don't know if that makes a big difference for people, but you know, it just sounds just a little bit more natural sounding overall. But you can just hear exactly how sharp every single sound is, and you can definitely tell where everything was. And I feel like the soundstage, honestly, this doesn't really sound like a closed back. It sounds like somewhere in between like a closed and open back. It definitely doesn't sound like it's closed in. So I feel like for soundstage, it sounds pretty good, pretty decent. And I feel like that does help you kind of gauge the depth of like how things are, like how kind of, are they here, or are they over here? Like how far they are, right? So I feel like the depth kind of advantage of this is also really good. So you can definitely tell that a lot. So the VZR Model 2 in comparison to the HyperX. The HyperX is pretty much the standard. It has a very good tuning, honestly, very comfortable headset. I would say the biggest improvement you're getting is the detail and the quality of the driver. You can really hear how much cleaner and snappier that the sound sounds like on the Model 2, as well as, you know, the depth and how wide the sound sounds. It sounds better on the Model 2 as well. And you're also getting a more engaging sound, so you're getting more of that bass, that sub bass. So if you like listening to EDM music, but also just those kind of juicy sounds and those explosions, it has more dynamics, right? So like if you want, I always say this, like you guys are probably bored of me saying this, but like there's a reason why you go to a movie theater to watch movies, so you can not only hear the sound but feel the sound, right? Listening to you on your little dinky little phone and watching on your small screen doesn't give you that immersive experience. I think this, you know, VZR Model 2, because the driver is so good, it gives you that much bigger, much more immersive type of sound where you can actually feel the shake of like the bombs and explosions. And I feel like that makes a huge difference in making your sound more immersive, more alive, and everything like that. I think that's honestly kind of an underrated element of much more better quality drivers, honestly. So we have the two headphones, the EPOS H6 Pro, and then we also have the PC38X. They use the same exact drivers, but they have a very different tuning. The funny thing is, I think the H6 Pro sounds more like the old VZR Model 1. It's very V-shaped sounding, very good directional accuracy, but you know, a lot of that vocal and stuff and the dialogue mid-range is sucked out a little bit, and it's kind of similar to the Model 1. Versus, I think the PC38X is more similar to something like the Model 2. You get a lot more of that mid-range, a lot of that vocal, it fills it out, it sounds less, I guess, hollow sounding, much more filled out. And honestly, that's what I kind of said last time. I said, you know, if I was listening to dialogue and music, I would choose the PC38X, but the new Model 2 has bridged that gap. Now, it almost feels like there's almost no reason to go for the PC38X anymore, because this one gives you that nice vocal dialogue presence. You can definitely hear all those sounds now, and it almost feels like a straight upgrade at this point to the PC3X, because what you're getting is you're getting better bass, better sub bass than this headphone, which amounts to, you know, much more fun type of sound, but you're also getting better detail. Like you can definitely tell that these have much better drivers on the Model 2. Everything sounds crisper and cleaner, and yeah, it's definitely an experience, right? So especially when you, I mean, I always listen to like natural like guitar sounds, and you just hear every single small pluck of it and how clean that sounds, how realistic it sounds. It honestly does such a good job on the Model 2. When we compare it to the Maxwell, obviously the Maxwell is a wireless headphone. It's kind of a different ball game altogether. It uses digital EQ to kind of achieve its tuning, while this is tuned naturally, right? With things like the Talisman and stuff like that, or modifying the driver, they have to tune it right, you know, good outside the box. I'd say the Model 2 and the Maxwell honestly sound closer than they do, I guess, differently. They're definitely a lot better. The mid-range is definitely filled out more. I would say maybe you get slightly more kind of treble emphasis a little bit on the Maxwell than the VZR. So this sounds slightly brighter, but overall the tuning has kind of closed, the gap is closed. I personally think the tuning is so good on both of these now that people are really going to have struggle, but I think the dynamics, like I said earlier, like that more movie theater, more feeling your music type of sound really drives the VZR as a more exciting headphone. I think the bass does sound more, I guess, experiential. You can hear, you can feel it a little bit more. I think that's the biggest difference a lot of people are going to like. And I do think that if you're looking for that competitive gaming advantage of detecting your footsteps, finding where they are, pinpointing it, the Model 1 also does, the Model 2 does a better job than the Maxwell, but the Maxwell still, and they have the planar magnetic drivers. It's still a very detailed type of sound, and it's wireless. If you're looking for a wireless headset, it's still going to be like the best wireless option that you have, honestly. All right, the VZR Model 1 Mark II. Get inside. Get what's new. The Talisman, updated tuning, microphone. It looks like we have kind of a splitter cable, and then we also have the single 3.5 millimeter with the built-in microphone. All right, so this is the VZR Model 2, and this is what it sounds like. This is linked directly to my PC motherboard, so nothing fancy, no really editing at all. Now, what I notice is there's obviously my fan because I have RTX 4090. It's actually pretty loud. It's the summer, it's hot, so it's going pretty loud. I think it's rejected noise pretty well. I think it does sound pretty good. So yeah, this is what you kind of expect from a, I guess, pretty expensive headphone. So in the end, the Model 2, like I try to think of like what improvements can they make to it now. At this point, I would say to make it like the perfect sound quality, maybe it could have just a little bit more treble, a little bit airier. But honestly, I'm nitpicking and complaining at that point. This thing is very good, very detailed, very balanced sound. You have really good build quality. And yeah, I feel like the Model 2 really just encapsulates like what I'm looking for. Like obviously I like listening to my music. I like listening to all the small nuanced details because I'm an audiophile. But then it also has a microphone, right? And it can be actually used for competitive gaming. I like playing my FPS games. You guys know that. Marvel Rivals, Valorant. Right? You know, you need to have that kind of pinpoint precision that to detect where they are. But I think when you combine this like high quality driver that just give you this like detail that most gaming brands don't give you, then this thing gives you that really refined sound that really helps you kind of pinpoint everything. But you can also just, you know, turn off your game and listen to some music and enjoy that as well. And then for me, because, you know, I make YouTube videos, I can also edit videos as well and do all that too with this. So it just gives it this versatility that I think a lot of different users would like from it. And so yeah, I definitely recommend this if you guys are looking for a gaming headset with high quality audio, right? You're looking for something that's beyond just the normal, you know, HyperX gaming. You're looking for that next, you know, upper tier of audio. I think this one will really give you that experience. And trust me, I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. And this is definitely not a bass light headphone. You're going to definitely feel and hear your bass. You're definitely going to enjoy your music and be immersed in your game. I think that is the most important part about this. And I feel like competitive gamers are probably like, sometimes some competitive gamers think bass is bad, but for me, bass is bad only if it's overemphasized and on a crappy driver. Then it just makes things sound muddy. When you have a good tuning with excellent drivers, bass is actually just adds to the experience and makes it better. And you can actually hear a lot of that lower tone notes as well. So I think bass is actually good for competitive games too. So this definitely does that. So if you guys like this, I mean, I will leave links down in the description below. It does help my support my channel if you guys do buy through those. But I think this is a good, you know, headphone. If you want to check on my other reviews and all my kind of audiophile gaming headset reviews, I have tons of them on my channel. You can, I mean, I have over like 400 videos by now, so there's definitely something for you to find. And yeah, I mean, I'll see you guys in my next video.